This is Chapter 14, One Small Step for Man, One Giant Leap for Mankind. Part 1, from a story called The Time-Dilated Generations, by Esteban Gallardo. Endeavor lander to command control. All systems are green. Ready for launch. Donna Cruz spoke with a neutral and professional tone, masking the overwhelming excitement she and her crew felt. They had trained for this moment for their entire lives, and now they were minutes away from making history. The reply from Command Control came swiftly, laced with anticipation. Command Control to Endeavor lander, releasing the locks in 3, 2, 1. Locks released. You are clear to engage. Roger, Command Control. Engaging thrusters to exit docking area, confirmed Albert, his voice steady as he initiated the first maneuver. As the lander drifted free from the space station, he allowed himself a moment of levity. Oh man, this is it. I'm gonna miss beating you guys in every sport. Tell Johnny that when I see him again, I'll still be able to kick his sorry ass. A chuckle echoed over the comms. That's quite a challenge, Albert. We'd love to see that rematch. With practiced precision, the Endeavor lander executed its orbital maneuvers, aligning itself with the designated descent trajectory. Endeavor lander to Command Control. We have reached the target orbit, Teresa announced, her voice calm and controlled. Landing protocol window opens in 90 seconds. Albert, unable to contain his excitement, let out a breathless laugh. I still can't believe it. We're about to walk on an actual planet. It's beyond my wildest dreams. Caleb, ever the cautious one, interjected. I love your optimism, man, but considering how many things down there could kill us, I'd be lying if I wasn't scared to death. Albert grinned. We've prepared for this moment for centuries. I know we're ready. Donna, ever the leader, brought them back to focus. All right, let's stay sharp, guys. We'll have plenty of time to explore once we land. Teresa, status? 10 seconds to landing window, Teresa replied, all business. Roger that, Albert acknowledged, his demeanor shifting. He could joke around all he wanted, but when it was time to work, he was all focus and precision. 3, 2, 1, engage, Teresa counted down. Engaging, Albert confirmed. The thrusters fired, pushing the Endeavor lander out of orbit and toward the planet's atmosphere. As the spacecraft descended, the atmosphere thickened, turning the sleek hull into a glowing inferno. Even though Rigel's world had a thinner atmosphere than Earth, the sheer speed of entry was enough to generate deadly levels of heat and pressure. Exterior temperature rising, 1,300 degrees in 10 seconds, Teresa reported. Roger, correcting re-entry angle, Albert responded, adjusting the ship's trajectory. The Endeavor lander shuddered violently, the G-forces pressing them deep into their seats. G-forces passing 4, Teresa called out, her voice still steady, but now tinged with strain. Almost there. Adjusting. Albert gritted through his clenched teeth, sweat forming at his brow as he fought to maintain control. G-forces nearing 5, Teresa warned, her usual calm now showing signs of tension. Then, angle correction complete, Albert finally declared. The ship stabilized, and the violent shaking eased. A collective exhale filled the cabin. Exterior temperature dropping below 1,100 degrees. G-forces lowering to 4.5, Teresa confirmed, her voice regaining its composure. With their re-entry phase complete, they were now flying within the planet's atmosphere. Switching to atmospheric flight mode, Albert announced. The Endeavor lander transitioned from a controlled fall into a high-speed aircraft maneuver, shifting its propulsion systems to match the conditions of the alien air. Course correction protocols kicked in automatically, stabilizing the descent. Just as Albert began to level out their trajectory, the ship lurched unexpectedly. The controls felt sluggish and unresponsive. Teresa, I need an engine adjustment. Something's off, Albert called out, tightening his grip. Already on it, Teresa replied, scanning her instruments. Propulsion output recalibrating for atmospheric conditions. Within moments, the ship responded, the engine smoothly adapting to the new gravitational and aerodynamic forces. Albert let out a relieved breath. Thanks, Teresa. You read my mind. As the Endeavor lander soared through the reddish sky of the twilight zone, the crew finally had the chance to take in the breathtaking view. Below them, the barren landscape stretched endlessly, a world untouched by life. The thin atmosphere, though sparse, still held wisps of low-lying clouds, drifting like shadows across the vast, arid expanse. The eternal twilight cast elongated shadows of jagged mountain ridges, their peaks bathed in a crimson glow, while the shifting clouds reflected a kaleidoscope of deep reds, burnt oranges, and somber shadows. It was a sight unlike any they had ever witnessed, alien, harsh, yet indescribably beautiful. For a moment, everything else faded. The mission, the protocols, the years of preparation, all forgotten as they marveled at the alien grandeur outside their viewpoint. They weren't the only ones captivated by the sight. Across the vast, time-dilated network of generational ships, every surviving human was watching, their eyes glued to the live transmission. Some of them were seeing the possible future landscapes of their own worlds, others simply reveling in the enormity of the moment. For the first time since leaving Earth, humanity was returning to solid ground. Then, Teresa's voice cut through the reverie, pulling them back into focus. Reaching landing target in less than 1 minute, she reported with her usual precision. Roger that. I see it now, Albert confirmed, his eyes scanning the surface as he adjusted their descent. The landing site was a flat, open plain, carefully selected from years of orbital surveys. Scattered across the landscape, visible even from this altitude, were several pre-deployed resource modules, strategically dropped over the past few years. They contained oxygen generators, water processors, food supplies, and construction materials, everything necessary to establish a functional base within 2 weeks. Though their lander carried enough oxygen and food for 2 months, they wouldn't need it for long. The habitat modules were already designed for rapid assembly, meant to be operational in mere days. Albert guided the Endeavour lander into its final descent. Though the spacecraft had shock-absorbing landing legs to handle rough terrain, they wouldn't be necessary. The plane was as smooth and stable as they could have hoped for. With careful precision, he deployed the landing gear and initiated the slow, methodical descent. A minute later, the Endeavour lander made contact. For the first time, a human spacecraft had touched down on an alien planet, breaking a silence that had lasted for 3 centuries. A wave of relief rippled through the crew, felt across light years by every human still alive. Across the vast interstellar fleet, all generational ships erupted in celebration, but it was a silent victory, a moment where emotions ran too deep for words. They weren't done yet. There was one final step left. That was Chapter 14, One Small Step for Man, One Giant Leap for Mankind, Part 1, from a story called The Time-Dilated Generations, by Esteban Gallardo. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you again next time.